talk about the main Liberty essentials. So we're talking about essentials being some of the main things that make up a really good Liberty horse. It's not necessarily talking about more advanced Liberty movements, but it's just those main kind of prerequisites or those main essential things that help you to guide you on your Liberty relationship with your horse. So we're going to break them all down and put them all into a fun video that makes it as an easy reference for you to check off the boxes and say, hey, I've done all these things, and that might help me to get a little bit further and advanced in my Liberty. So the main first one that we want to think about is Liberty as a lifestyle. We really look at Liberty being the mindset of how we are with our horses at all times. So not just when we want to do Liberty or do tricks or do certain things like that. It's from the time that we go out and put the halter on our horse. It's when we have a halter and a line on our horse. We don't necessarily have to be naked in Liberty to have that Liberty mindset. How am I going to work with my horse in the best way that they know, which is how they interact with each other without ropes and lines in their herd. So we look at that as a lifestyle from the second that we are with our horse to the second we put them away. And we look at that as being really important because we shouldn't be not consistent. We should be as consistent with what we're teaching our horse when we have reins and a line and equipment on our horse or when they don't have it. So the very first essential that we want to talk about, that essential is truly us. We have to have the mindset ourselves of understanding horse behavior, understanding human behavior, understanding the nervous system of both of us, understanding how that functions, and understanding body language to better read and assist and work with that Liberty. And we also have to check in with ourselves. How are we? Are we centered? Are we grounded? Are we, most importantly, in the present moment? When horses are together with each other, in order to keep themselves good and alive and not get eaten by predators, they have to be in the present moment. They have to be aware and fully in tune with what's going on around them. So the Liberty Essential 2 is actually our 3 Liberty rules. And these 3 rules have been derived from the rules that they have out naturally within their herd dynamics. So these 3 Liberty rules are, number 1 is, can we create a space or a bubble? Can we create a boundary with our horse? So that boundary can either come from creating space with our energy or the tool that is an extension of our energy, and or can we send the horse out and forward with that boundary? So with Arrow, there's a couple of different ways that I can do that. I can do that all through my heels. So can I ask it to back up, back, and send the energy out and send the energy from my whips and create some space and boundary that way? Or can I send him out? I'll just connect with him here. Up. Good. And can I send him out and forward? Good. Good. There we go. He really wants to stay connected in here, but can I send him out? Good boy. And can I speed him up? And trot. Good boy. Excellent. And then can I soften my energy? Arrow. Soften my energy and allow him to come back in. And then that brings us into Liberty Rule 2. And Liberty Rule 2, hi buddy, is controlling the direction of travel. This one I see a lot of people not understanding why we need to do it and or like what's the point. So controlling the direction of travel means that we're going to pick one side of our horse and we're always going to focus on that one side of our horse until we change the direction of travel. So I'm going to pick this left side, this left hip, and I want to be able to see that left eye and that left hip at all times. And I want to make sure that Arrow doesn't try to control that direction of travel by moving me around and or blocking me or trying to change it on his own. So the reason, So the reason that controlling of direction of travel is so important to horses is because the lead horses that are the most aware, so in the herd, those horses that are the most aware are going to keep the herd safe because they know where the predators are. So those horses are the most aware, and the other horses are going to do whatever those aware horses say because they are totally going to keep them safe in the herd. And so those really aware herd members are going to lead the horses in the direction of travel that is the most safe. And if you are not in line with that direction of travel, which is going to the watering hole or going to the food that's the safest way to go there without getting eaten by predators, then you're going to get left behind, or you're going to be told by other herd members to get into line where you need to go. So that's the reason why that control of direction of travel is very important. So a simple way of testing that is even just with a yield in here. So even in there, is he going to block me so that I can't see those hips? Quite often horses will come this way and they will block in there, and that's partially controlling the direction of travel. And most people then allow the horse to do that, and so we just gently say, hey, no, stay on that side, or I'll use my yields to help the horse stay on the correct direction of travel. So then once I've achieved a control of direction of travel on one side where the horse is not testing me anymore, they're going to surely test you because they want to know if you are an aware enough leader. Then I will actually physically connect on the other side of my horse and do the actual same thing on the other side of my horse. So I'll control the direction of travel on here. And once I get that good, then I can go to liberty number 3. So liberty number 3, rule 3, is to be able now to change the direction of travel. So once I've been able to control it on either side, now can I actually change that direction of travel? So in here, good. I will connect with him. I will make sure that he stays in this direction of travel that I've asked him to stay in. Good. And then can I change that direction of travel and go the other direction and be okay to stay on this side of my horse? And there's many different ways that we can control that direction of travel with a bunch of different exercises to test our horse. But even as I'm speaking with you guys, I'm making sure that I'm aware of this side of my horse now, and so Arrow knows to stay on that side. So Liberty Essential 3 is to mirror our horse. And mirroring is basically has to do with our energy and also what our body is doing while we're with our horse. So horses out in their natural way of being mirror each other to a T because that's what keeps them safe. If one horse is going to raise their head because something is scary, the whole rest of the herd is going to raise their head and be ready to run. Also, the more that they mirror each other and they look as one, so they look in sync with each other and they look more like one big entity, then predators have a less chance of being able to pick one of them out of the herd to kill them. So this way they stay together and they stay in sync with each other, and then they don't have to worry so much about being that straggler. And so mirroring is a great way that can bring us into the present moment with our horse as well, because we have to focus on feeling our horse and mirroring exactly what they're doing. It also gets us in check with our energy, like we talked about before, that can I actually have my horse mirror my energy? So if I'm really uppity and I'm this and this, then my horse is going to be that way. If I can stay nice and calm and breathing, then I'm hoping that my horse is going to also breathe in there as well. So simple exercise, Arrow, come. A simple exercise here is that we can just simply mirror our horse's footsteps exactly to a T. You can see how soft his head and neck when Arrow naturally really likes to have his head and neck straight up in the air. And you can see as soon as I went into my mirroring, he right away dropped that head and neck super nice. And we can then mirror at other gaits. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. Yeah. And is he going to mirror my body language here? Suck back. You can see that I'm actually going on my haunches a bit to ask him to back up, or I come forward, up, or I come forward in here and have him match my footsteps in there. And good boy. Good. So mirroring is a fantastic way to build a bond and more of a connection with your horse in a natural, organic. It's pressure, release, and draw. Drive, release, and draw. Yield, release, and draw. So this again goes with their herd dynamic and how they deal with things in their herd. So you have mama horse who is just getting really fed up with little baby horse, and she's like, ugh. So she's got to kind of reprimand this little baby horse for being so bad, but she has to be careful not to use up too much energy, and she also has to be super careful not to hurt her baby when she does say, hey, stop doing this, it's not okay. So the best way that they do is they ground them. So like we would ground our kid instead of giving them a bad spanking. So they will actually disengage the hind and push the horse out of the herd. So mama or the other herd members in the herd are going to put pressure, and they're going to drive that little baby horse out of the herd. And the fastest, easiest way to send that little baby horse out of the herd is by loosening up the hind end and sending them forward out, because that takes the least amount of energy for the little guy to run out there and stay out there. So then the little baby out there is like, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine out here on my own. And he has a little temper tantrum and he's uppity and he bucks and kicks out at mom, but the herd just keeps the pressure on the baby to stay out there. And then that baby finally decides, ooh, you know what, I actually kind of don't want to be out there anymore because I hear the coyotes and I'm a little worried about, what's going to happen when I'm out here all by myself. So that's when the baby then decides to soften in its body, relax and arc, and put their head down and say, hey, mom, can I come back in the herd? And then mama horse does the same thing. She still controls the direction of travel, of how that baby comes into the herd, but she will soften and she will relax her body and allow that baby to come back into the herd. So that's all the basis of our liberty, is working on what they know right from when they were first born. So we can create that pressure and release and draw through exercises that we do with our horse. So a very simple exercise that we can do to show that pressure and release and draw is just a backup. So I'm going to be here in front of Maverick, and I'm just going to raise my energy back. I'm going to give it the word, or whatever my cue is, might need to use an extension of my body. And then can I release and come to neutral? And can he stay at neutral? And then within that neutral space, then is he calm and relaxed? And if he's calm and relaxed, then I will say, hey, come Maverick, you can come back in. Good. All while still controlling the direction of travel. So my whips were on this side of my horse, on his right-hand side. So he has to draw in on that correct curve of me controlling the direction of travel that I chose. So that's a simple way that we can tell the horse or explain to the horse that we are a herd member and we do and think of the same concepts as you do out in your herd, and making sure that that draw is only happening when the horse is calm and relaxed and can actually stay out there a little bit neutral in that release. So he learns that pressure can come, pressure can be taken off with a release, and then it can really be taken off for that draw, and I always add some steps backward to really tell my horse and soften my energy that they are allowed to come back into my space. So also within the draw, we look at different ways that we can draw our horse to us. So in there, that was a straight draw. Come on. Good. So in here, I basically can draw him straight to me, but he's not straight. He's always on that direction of travel, but we're basically going on a straight line. But you can see that if my whips were here, he is on the other side that I've chosen to control the direction of travel. Then we should be able to draw our horse all of their body parts to us. So here I'm drawing his whole body to me, and in here I'm going to step to the side, and can he cross his front over, and can he draw his shoulder to me? So in there you can see that when I stepped off to the side, I could draw his shoulder to me. Good boy. And then can I draw his hip to me? Can I come in here, and then he arcs and curves with his head towards me when I actually go and ask for the hip to go, and then he comes with me that way too. So that draw is important that we can get on both sides of our horse, that we can get it in a straight line, and that we can also pull the shoulder to us and pull the hip to us. And then we can also have that draw in hand position. Good. And so in hand, can I draw that horse with me, with the shoulder to come with me, and I'm softening my inside shoulder to allow him to go forward. If I bring my shoulder up, he knows to stop. When I soften my shoulder, he's allowed to come forward, and I can draw that shoulder, or I can go to the hip, and can I draw him this way from the hip? So it's important that we can have that draw on a straight line, draw from the shoulder and from the hip in an in-hand position as well. So we can get that pressure and release and draw in all of this. So you saw pressure was to the hip, release and motion. The draw came after the pressure, even when we were in motion. Good boy, Maverick. Yeah, good boy. Good, and then always remembering the place of release in here is the draw is the jackpot. The draw is all the reward in the world. But you saw that he did not control the direction of travel by going in behind me or blocking me. He stayed on this correct side that I asked him to, and that's very important with our draw, that when we do draw, it's correct and appropriate. The horse is relaxed, and they are in the direction of travel that we have chosen them to be. So Liberty Essential 5 is our yields away from us. And we want to make sure that we can separate those yields. So my yields away from the shoulder, my yields away from the hip, and then can his whole body and his rib cage move away from me. So we'll just quickly test on one side of the horse for time preference here. So I'm going to ask him to yield his hind quarter away from me. So I'm going to send my energy to his hip. Can he move just that hip over nicely? Good boy. Very good. You're so sweet. Okay, and now can I actually come in here and move the shoulder? Sit. Good. 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 Good boy. Beautiful. Okay, and then we also showed the back up from before. Can we move the horse backwards? And so that's another great thing to work on is in that pressure release and draw is that back up. Then can I move the horse sideways? Side. Side. And can I move his whole body away from me? Sideways. Good boy. So Liberty Essential 6 is can we bring those yields towards us now? So we're going to still do the same thing by breaking all the body parts down. So can we bring the front end to us, which we did in the draw? Can we bring the shoulder to us? Can we bring the hip to us separately? And can we actually have the whole body sideways come towards us? And in here, we're going to cue very differently. All the yields away were kind of low and more at pushing the horse. Whereas this is going to be up high, the cue, and something very different, so they know the difference, even at a distance, of what a yield away cue is with our whip, or a yield to us is. And again, the whip is an extension of my energy, so it's really hard. I can soften and teach my horse just to raise my hand and have them come to me, but at a far distance, they can't see that. So we use the whip to become looking more like a horse with a tail, but also to be able to cue from a far distance away from our horse, and the horse could actually see it, more like how a horse would cue it rather than just an upright human. So in here, my hip to me is going to be bring that stick up into the air, hip. Good boy. And specifically, send that energy up high to the hip for him to come to me with that cue. And then if I want to come in here to relax my energy, he's a very sensitive horse. And then I'm going to ask in here for that shoulder spin. Good. And can I bring that shoulder to me separate from the rest? Good boy. Excellent. Good boy. Good. And then soften my energy when he does the correct thing. And then can I do that whole sideways towards me? Here. Yep. Good boy. Very. Liberty Essential number 7 is always a fun one. And it's the ground tie. Can we keep our horse in the position that we want them to be? Can we keep them in that position and walk all around them? And then a recall. So from a distance, can I call my horse back to me? So when we're working with our horse at liberty and they leave us, then we have a way that we can bring them back to us. So this one, practicing it, is just a really good way to help them to learn to be able to be independent by staying away from us, but also that when we do call them to us, it's a way that we can get them back to us. So here with Errol, I'll just put him in a ground halt. Whoa. Whoa, good boy. Can I walk all the way around my horse? Good boy. Whoa. And can I leave my horse and can he be independent by himself there? Good boy. And then can I call him? Errol, come. Good boy. Excellent job. Good boy. Very good. So it's just another way that we can increase distance from our horse, have them independent, and also have them to be able to come to us when we call them. So it's a really fun one we get to play with, and you can create more distance, and then you can also create more speed for them to come up to you nice and fast and quick with a lot of reward in there when they do get to you and come to you. And that's one thing I want to talk about a little bit with our liberty. Our liberty is half doing and, of course, being with our horse, but the other half is the release, because that's the jackpot gold for them. So that release and that really saying, good boy, and praising them and letting them know that what they did was the right thing and that they can calm and just be with you. And that's their true reward. So we do, it depends on the horse, but we will do a lot of almost more reward than we will actually do physical work of doing things. So again, we're always talking about balance. And that's part of that balance in liberty. And to me, liberty is all about balancing everything. So liberty essential number 8 is shaping the horse and being able to do some circles with the horse. The reason this is important at liberty is to really be able to work on the direction of travel that you've chosen. And also, it's another excellent one to help them to use their bodies correctly. So we can ask them to stay nice and shaped on those circles so that they're really using their hind quarter and bringing their inside hind underneath themselves and lifting weight off of the front. So in here, with those liberty shaping circles, I want to make sure that I can keep some energy going forward with the horse. You can see we've been doing videos and Maverick's a little bit lazy here. Good. And then can I open my shoulder up? And can I have that horse shape and circle around me? And you can see in here for a horse that has wobbler syndrome, he's really putting a lot of effort into using his body as correctly as he can. He's lifting his shoulder, inside shoulder up. He's got really nice bend in off of that circle. He came in nicely. He tested just a little bit at the end, and I just corrected him. And then that way we can work on that rule as well. And then we can change those directions and do some figure eights and do some different shaping on the other side. So I always want to make sure at Liberty that I can do the same on one side as I do the other side, and that it's equally as good. I mean, other than the horse maybe having some symmetrical issues in its body, just like us, but for the most part, we have to make sure they're just as comfortable with us on both sides. This is one of my favorite, is environmental attunement work. And so this is getting the horse used to obstacles and or different objects that they might be a little bit worried about, and helping them to build confidence. The biggest thing when we do this at Liberty is such an amazing tool for us to do at Liberty, because we're, as humans, as predators to a horse, we're not always as great at looking at what the horse's body language or what the horse is trying to tell us, or if they're really worried and they're scared, that they're really not showing it. And so when we have them at Liberty, they have that option to leave. And that is a beautiful thing, because if we don't allow them to have the option to leave, and we've misread some of their signs, and we've maybe gone past their fear threshold or threshold of tolerance, we've just lost some trust in our horse. And not that it's a bad thing, we're going to gain that trust back and we're going to work through that, but it allows us to build that trust so much more. So with our environmental attunement, we work on a 3-step process. That first step of that environmental attunement is the attunement piece. So it's actually understanding and seeing where our horse's threshold of tolerance or fear threshold is. And our goal is to try to stay either just below or just at that when we're trying to teach something new to the horse, which means it's just to the point that I'm going to find that threshold that I'm going to work at before my horse chooses to leave me. Because then we can say, hey, you are worried, I'm going to take that object away because I see that I've gone a little bit past that threshold level. And then the horse understands, like, holy crap, this person is actually aware of my feelings and aware of how that I am worried and that I'm scared and I need to leave. Once we really gain this trust with this horse in this way, we can further go a little bit, bring them up to that threshold, bring them up to that threshold more and more and more, you know, and then bring them back down once we talk about emotional regulation in the next step. But for now, we have to make sure that we're aware of what that horse is doing. So that's the first part, is that attunement piece there. The second piece is then rewarding them with relaxation with the tool. So when we are using whatever, like the obstacle or this, we can retreat or take it away and let the horse know, that's what I'm looking for. I'm really happy when you're softening and you're relaxing, and that's when I'll take it away from them, still staying under their fear threshold level. Then once we get that confidence and that trust with that object or that obstacle, then we can go ahead and use pressure with the tool or whatever they're a little bit worried about, to move or yield them away. So I'll do a quick lowdown here with the flag here with Maverick. So I'm going to just kind of go where I think his fear threshold level might be with this flag. So coming here, oh, he became aware of it, his head went up, and his eye was a little bit frozen. So I just took the object away and let him know, like, that's okay. I see that you're a little bit fearful. Now I know where his threshold level is a little bit with that. Good play. And you can see this time there was no worry. He just looked at it. He's not blinking, which tells me he's still just a little tiny bit worried about it. As I took it away, that's when I got a nice blink in there. So then again, I'm going to come up here and I'll go to that threshold level again where he's at. Good boy. He's a little more soft now. I'd like to see a blink. There it is. There's that blink and that softening and a little more of a breath where I was at that threshold level in there. And so then I'm rewarding him by taking it away and saying, yes, good, you relaxed and you were okay with it in there. And of course, videoing, I'm not keeping nice rhythm, but rhythm is super important in there. You know, and a choice that he can leave, but there are a lot of horses that actually need movement. So I'm not going to use my tool to encourage movement. I might use my draw to encourage the movement, but I want the horse to be able to move because that's really important for their nervous system. And this is the whole part where we need to understand and know what the nervous system is all about. I mean, I could do videos and videos on that, but that's important too. So that's what we would do. Now, the last thing, once my horse is totally okay with that, can I now use the object and ask him to move his hip over? Good, and I have to have energy within my body when I ask. See, I didn't have quite enough energy from my body when I asked him. As soon as I raised my energy, then he moved. The energy came through the tool. Now he knows that this tool is a part of me and that he's okay to, when energy is on, energy goes through the tool, he listens to that energy and he moves, or he can just stand there and I can have my energy off and I can use that tool on his body. He shouldn't be worried about it. We can do the exact same process with an obstacle. So with that obstacle, we can have them, good boy, we can have them come up to the obstacle, and until I get social engagement with it, and also with the flags, I missed a little bit of that piece of that social engagement, good boy, then I can retreat, take them away from the obstacle, good boy. That's the answer that I wanted. I wanted that social engagement in there, and then I can help him and send him through the obstacle. Now I just want to stay in there. Good boy. All the way through. Good boy. And lots of reward in there with him once he does that obstacle nicely. This is a really important piece to our Liberty training because this builds confidence and trust with our horse, and my favorite way to do it is at Liberty because it allows the horse to have the movement for its nervous system that it really needs and that it can do all of the things that its nervous system might need to do, like flee or is helping to teach our horses emotional regulation or control. So once we've established, all those other 9 essentials with our horses, and of course we're going to be working on this number 10 throughout that whole thing, but we want to be able to make sure that we can teach them how to regulate and how to be able to control themselves when they do get a little bit more uppity. There's lots of different ways that we can do that. Number 1 is being able to slowly, incrementally add more energy to them, to what we're doing, whether it's an exercise or a transition or a gait, to help them to go, woo, okay, I can get up here a little bit, but I can come back down and get rewarded from that. So in here, this is the place that we want our horses to come. We want them to come to a place of calm and relaxation, and they're always going to react and they're always going to get worked up, or we have to add energy and performance, but how can we get them to come back down to that really good place? So it is as simple as being able to, okay, I got these 2 horses working together at Liberty. Great. They're nice and calm at the walk. So I'm going to condition them. Oh, good boys. Like you are nice and calm. Good job. That's exactly what I wanted you to be. Was very nice and calm. And I'll let them know that was really good with giving them a release. Then in a safe environment, so I wouldn't start doing these things where they didn't feel as safe in a new place, but I would maybe add some energy at trot. Good job. And could they handle that with each other? Whoa, good. And so that little bit of energy that I've raised up there, good boys, that was good. So they got a little snarky with each other, they got a little uppity, they were a little bit worried. But can you see how they can now really regulate themselves? See how nice that is? That they could come down and regulate and breathe and lick and chew and really relax in here.
And so I'll be very careful again with the nervous system, same as the environmental attunement, that I do this slowly, and I bring them up here. Then when I do take them out, and we might encounter something that we didn't think, and their energy raised up, we can easily bring them back down to a place of calm. But we have to do it in a safe environment where they feel safe first. Raise that energy, doing something more, or a gallop, something that's going to get that heartbeat going, and then bring them back down. Or work on our environmental attunement, where we work with things that are harder for them, and then bring them back down. So it's a very good way to teach them that emotional control with that trust and confidence being built, that they can come down to a place of calm. And that's exactly what we want to be our horses. So go play, have a lot of fun with your horses, and that's where the magic is going to happen.